Hey guys, this is Tia and I'm back with another video. This time we're going to be using gel instead of the dip liquids. Again, my name is Tia. I am the owner of Nail Dip Studio, an online nail boutique that specializes in dip products. If you're interested in anything you've seen today, head over to my website at naildipstudio.com. So here are some of the tools we're going to be using in today's manicure. You're going to need a nail nipper, you're going to need a nail clipper, you're going to need a cuticle pusher, and some cuticle softener. I'm also going to be grabbing my 180 over 100 nail file as well as my nail buffer. And I'm going to be showing you how I clean up everything using the Efile. But these are some of the basic tools that you can go and grab to do today's tutorial if you want to follow along with the steps that I'm going to be doing today. Okay. So one of the main things that I think that is very important is pre-shaping. You need to understand when you're going in to do your nails, what shape are you going for? Are you going for a more tapered square look? If you're going for something that may be more almond shaped, just look at your nail length, especially if you're utilizing your natural nails, and make sure you're clipping them down and or shaping them into your desired shape. Now right here I have some nips, some nail chips that happened during my last manicure, and that happens. Sometimes you will chip the nail underneath, or sometimes you will actually chip your nail depending on the activities that you're going through in the course of a day. So I'm just cutting my nails down, and plus I prefer short nails. I am a barely there type of gal, so I prefer to have my nails a little shorter, just because I'm not, like, long nails is just not my thing. I admire longer nails, medium-sized nails, but I am to the core a short nail girl. I just prefer to have my nails short. So I'm just going through really quickly and trimming everything down to my desired size. And again, this is just an easy step that will aid in your final product. Now that we've trimmed everything, I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning underneath my nails. And I'm doing this in twofold. I do this during the dry surface piece, and I'm going to break today's video down into two components. There are the dry surfaces that you will do with your manicure, and then there are the wet surfaces affiliated with the manicure. And what I mean by dry and wet would be trimming your nails down, pre-shaping your nails, and or in some cases even adding your extensions to your nails. All of that is going to be done during the dry phase. When you go into the wet phase of the actual manicure, that can consist of using your cuticle softener because it is a liquid there, or an oil-based product. If you don't have a cuticle softener, you can simply submerge your hand into warm water, and the warm water will start to loosen up some of that skin, and you can actually start to manipulate it and push it back some. So I like to start with my dry surfaces first, and then I will move into my wet surfaces. And then what you'll see me do is transition over into the Efile, where I'm just going to buff everything out, but that's an added step. It's not necessarily needed per se, but I just like to add that as a part of my manicure application. Now that we have everything all clean underneath, I'm going to move into the pre-shaping phase. And the pre-shaping phase of my nails, and I was about to put the cuticle softener on, but I was like, let's continue this out. I'm going to grab my nail file and I'm going to start to shape my nails. Now, this is very, very important. If you experience lifting from the sides, your side walls, and or the free edge of your nails, it's usually because either A, you did not apply enough product to the sides and or to the free edge to create the perfect bond, or you added enough product, but because you didn't pre-shape your nails in the beginning phase, at this phase right here, you compromise the integrity of the layers during your dip application. And as such, you have fouled off and broken that barrier. And now you've allowed water and moisture to get underneath there, which is now separating your dip overlay from the natural nail, thus creating lifting. And so what I like to do is I like to shape my nails about 80% of the way, so that once I'm finished with all of my layers and adding my activator and moving into the actual shaping and polishing, molding phase, what I like to do here is get my nails 80% of the way where I want my nails to be towards the end of my application. If you wait towards the end of the application, you're going to be overfouling. When you overfoul, you're going to be shaving off layers that you definitely need to maintain the strength of the nail, the integrity of the nail, and you don't want to do that. So this is critical. Make sure you're just pre-shaping your nails and getting it to that desired look that you want. I like to because I like a tapered look, I will over direct my nails when I'm filing my nails, just so that I can create a narrow look, because I know that once I add layers, it's going to add width, and it's going to also add length to it. And so what I may have taken off is so that I can add back on with product. So now what I'm going to do is move forward with using the cuticle softener, and I'm going to put that on my cuticles, and I'm going to allow the product to sit there for a second or two, just so it can start to, work its magic. The goal is to allow the product itself, the cuticle softener that is, the opportunity to really soften the cuticle and give me the ability to push the cuticles back and expose any dead skin that may be there, so that I can remove that. If you struggle with lifting towards the cuticle area, it's probably because either A, you flooded your cuticle and therefore the product in itself did not attach to the natural nail. In fact, it attached to the outer perimeter of the cuticle layer, which is your skin, and it never properly adhered to the natural nail. And because it didn't adhere to the nail, as your nail starts to grow out, it's going to lift, because it was basically holding itself down based off of that skin. And now that that skin is sort of separated from the layers, you're going to have lifting. I may have botched that up in terms of translation, but essentially all I'm saying is, if you apply the layers on top of your skin with flooding, once your nail starts to grow out, there's nothing there to keep it down, and as such, it's going to fly away. There's no anchor. It lost its anchor. So what I'm showing you here is just how I let the product do its job, remove any dead skin that I have there. And then once that's done, we're also going to nip, and we're also going to use the Efile to polish anything that I may have missed. But again, if you're experiencing lifting, especially in the cuticle area, it's probably because either A, you flooded your cuticle area with product and it didn't properly adhere, and or two, you did not remove the cuticle dead skin that is actually on the nail itself, and as such, that is just going to create additional lifting, and it's not going to allow your product to properly bond with your natural nail. So once that happens, I like to take a cuticle, my nipper, as well as a little bit of the alcohol. I take a napkin or a paper towel and I spray it down with alcohol, And I do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I am using the nippers to clean up anything that I may have, or remove anything that I may have, anything that I may need to remove around my cuticle area. And so I want to make sure that that alcohol is there to help remove the product from the actual nippers, so that I'm not, I guess, overcutting. Sometimes with a wet paper towel, you don't always get all of that product out. So I like to use a little bit of the alcohol just to help me when I remove the product. And I'm taking my time here moving the cuticle nippers around the cuticle area. I will go down the side wall and remove any dead skin. Make it your business not to hit the live skin. You don't want to over trim your cuticles, because you get into that live skin and you can really cause damage there. Not only will it become inflamed, not only will it become sensitive to the touch, but then it becomes puffy. It becomes not only puffy, but it gives you this exaggerated look as if your cuticles are almost like, a quarter of an inch higher than where they normally would sit. Sometimes that trauma won't dissipate. It won't go down. It may be a permanent thing. So you just want to make sure that you're taking your time and only cutting the dead skin, removing the dead skin that's there. Do not go past and do not force anything. Take your time. I like to nip in small pieces. Nip, 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 not long strokes. I can't, I don't like it. It's, to me, it's too aggressive. And if you are not really, really, really trained and skilled at doing that particular service, you can do more damage than good. So I just technically like to take my time and just remove only what's non-living. I'm not going to dig too deep. I'm not going to tug and pull. And right here, I'm just removing that membrane away from my natural nail, taking my time doing so. And again, my nippers are extremely sharp, but I am taking my time when I am cleaning up. I don't go in too aggressively. I think that that's a myth. And it really, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't want to cause that much harm to your nail. I'm telling you, it will hurt. That area, it will hurt like no one's business. So taking your time is key. Making sure you have non-dull nippers is also key. And now that I've done that on all of the nails, I'm going to take my Efile, utilizing my 180 nail bit, and I am going to just go around and polish everything. I'm going to use this one. I believe I'm also going to possibly use the cuticle polisher, and I'm also going to use the ball polisher, the diamond ball polisher as well, just to make sure that I'm cleaning everything up. Your nail prep will definitely impact your application. In many cases, it is the nail prep that gives you the professional looking results, because you have to do all of this on the front end. If you attempt to do it on the back end, in many cases, it's going to be too late, and you're going to really file off a lot of the product that you need to maintain, especially if you want to have like your manicure last for like 3, 4, 5 weeks. You have to do this. This is the only way that it works. So just taking my time. The other thing is, when I use my Efile, I tend not to go past setting 2 or speed 2. I don't have a need to be at speed 5, speed 6 now. When I'm utilizing the Efile on my natural nail and or polishing or removing any callousy skin on my hand. If I was using a hard gel and I was doing a hard gel removal, then yes, I would go up in my Efile speed. I would probably start somewhere around like a 5 or a 6, just so that I can have that torque to help remove that hardened gel. But if I'm not doing that and I'm only using this on my natural nail, I'm going to stay pretty low, 2 to 3 top speed, just because I don't want to cause any damage. I don't want to, I don't want that burning sensation, that little, that hot, that you foul too much, that heat, the friction, that sensation travels throughout your body, and I don't like that feeling. So I always like to go slower versus going faster. But I like to polish and clean everything up. And again, this is what will give you that professional look. I want to touch on station setup. Station setup is key. It is something that will speed up your dip manicure. I don't care if you're doing it on someone else's hand or if you're doing your own hand. Having your station properly set up, and what I mean by properly set up, I mean having all of the possible tools and equipment that you may need for your dip overlay. You need to make sure you have that within arm's reach. It makes a tremendous difference. I typically will put down either a paper towel or I will use one of those like ad circulators that we get in the mail, and I will place that down and use that as my placemat. And the reason why I'm doing that is for cleanup. I want to be able to remove the key essentials from the table, put them back in their appropriate places, and then just take that paper towel or that newspaper and ball that up, throw that right in the trash. We get the circulators anyway. You might as well use them for something if you're not using them for to check out the weekly specials at the grocery store. So that's one way of doing it. Right now, I'm going to be grabbing my dip powder shade, which is Pink Summer. I'm also going to be grabbing the clear dip powder. I'm also going to be grabbing step number 1, which is the primer. Step number 2, which is the liquid base coat. And I'm also trying the gel sample that I received because I'm considering adding gel, a soft gel and a builder gel to my dip product line. So in an effort to test out the integrity of the gel product in itself, I'm going to do a tutorial today to show you how I would use gel if I was doing a dip manicure with gel. The LED lamp that I'm using, I got this off of Amazon and it wasn't that expensive. I like the fact that I can set, if I need a 10-second zap or 30-second zap or a 60-second zap, I can do that. Or if you need a little bit more time, you can just not hit any one of the buttons and you can just put your hand under the lamp and it will cure until you remove it. It will go until you remove your hand. It's almost like an automatic sensor inside of this lamp. So I like this one a lot. What we're going to be doing is we're going to create the apex. We're going to be building that up. We're going to add our dip layers and we're going to finally finish with a clear layer before I go into the polishing and buffing and shaping mode. I think that that's important to do and important to mention. What I'm doing right here is just dusting off anything that may have, landed back on my nail surface while I was in the process of moving things around and setting up my station. Now that I have that done, I'm going to be moving on to grabbing a lint-free wipe and some alcohol, and I'm going to wipe my nails off. I do this for 2 reasons. One, I want to make sure that I removed all of the oils from my nails, whether it is from a product or my natural oils. And then number 2, I want to make sure that there's no additional dust, particles that may be on my hand. This is also going to aid in dehydrating your nail. When I say dehydrating, not from the detriment of, trying to, kill your nail, but dehydrating meaning stripping the nail from the natural oils and any products that may be there so that your product can properly adhere to your natural nail. If you do not have a nail primer, I would wipe my nails down with alcohol at least 2 to 3 times just to ensure that I've properly primed my nails. So yes, you can do it without a primer. I, however, will be using step number 1, and step number 1 for my liquid set is interchangeable. You can use it for the dip liquids and or you can use it for the gel product as well. So I'm going to be using that right now. I'm going to take that primer and I'm going to apply it to all of my nails just to ensure that the nail is properly primed and ready for the next step. Now that we have properly primed our nails, I'm going to move in with step number 2, which is the base coat from the traditional liquid set. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want to utilize the gel just yet. I want to build, I like the consistency and the slope that I get when building my apex when using the clear. And I'm going to use my base coat, step number 2, to create that natural curve. I have a slight curve already to my nails, but I like to enhance that just a tad bit. I don't want it to be over exaggerated, but I do want some height, some rise there. So I'm just going to use step number 2 and dip my nails in to the clear powder. I'm only going midway, and I'm avoiding the side walls, but I am sweeping the free edge just to help to create that barrier, that grip, that bond. Now that I've, created that my apex, the height, I've created the initial step to my natural nails. I'm going to move forward with dusting everything off, and hopefully I'm catching it in the bowl, but if not, the paper towel will catch anything that wasn't caught in the bowl. Once that's done, now I'm going to move on to the dip application using gel. And as you can see right there, I just took the container and I tapped it a little bit, and that's just to separate any powder that may be sticking together. And sometimes, depending on where you live and the climate of or the temperature of the room that you're keeping your products, you may have that issue. So I just like to give my products a nice little tap really quickly. Also, when you're pulling out your gel, you want to look at the thickness and the consistency of that gel. If you put too much gel on your nails, similar to the base coat, if you put too much on, you will start to get flooding around the side walls, around the cuticle area, and in some cases you will create ripples. You can, however, if you get a ripple, and I will get one in the tutorial just to show you how to repair it, you can repair it in real time, and it's going to be critical that you repair it before you put your before you put your hand under the LED lamp. You want to make sure that you repair that, because if you don't, if you have a ripple there, that ripple is going to get, cured. It's going to be hard. It's going to be set in stone once you put your hand in there. Now, also, when you're dipping your nails, you want to dip your nails at an angle. If you cannot manipulate that angle with your natural nail into your container, take the container, as I am doing, and tilt the container to a side, creating the angled approach. This is going to ensure that the product adheres to the nail evenly, and it's not going to create a lot of ripples. I'm going to show you how to do that again. I'm going to take a thin layer, going a little bit past where my initial half dip was. I am going to bring that product straight down, taking my time and using thin strokes. Always sweep the free edge and make sure that that product is being evenly distributed. I'm going to dip my nail into my powder, I'm going to tap it off. I'm going to re-dip it into the powder just to make sure that that pigment is actually sticking to my nail. I'm going to wiggle the product back and forth just so that I can allow the product to take its natural position and place on my nail. I'm not trying to force it, but I am trying to make sure that I guide it into the grooves, into the spaces where I need it to be so that I can have the proper pigment placement once I dip my nails into the powder. And once I do that, you want to make sure you submerge that nail into the powder all the way. And again, I did not dust it off. Why did I dust it off? Because your product, your gel is still wet. You have not cured your gel. You're going to cure your nails under the lamp for 60 seconds. Now that you've done that and your nails 60 seconds is up, now you can dust the powder off. Now you would take your dust brush and you would go in and dust everything off. That color payoff is beautiful. Just simply beautiful. Dust everything off. Clearly, I'm not catching anything in this container, so I'm going to remove the container like, okay, I did all of that and it didn't hit. Yeah, it's okay. Also, too, I had the fan on. Normally, I don't put my ceiling fan on, so that also could have played a part in the powder just going on the towel. But again, that's what it's there for. It's to catch the fallout. Take your gel, and I'm going to start with a thin layer. For me, everything is about the layers. If you're struggling with cracks or you just don't, your nails are, somewhat bendy, add some additional layers just to see if that will help your nails. I find that it helps me. So I will typically go with like 4 layers or maybe even 5, depending on the product itself. Like some shades are more sturdier than others, and I'll get into that in another video, but it's true. If you manage to sort of go a little bit past your side wall, see what I just did there? I just scraped that product off before I even dipped it into the actual powder. That is needed. You have to do that. I noticed that there was a little piece near the front that didn't have any product on it. So I wanted to dip my nail back in there to ensure that that product did make its way into that area where it was a little sparse. And now what I'm doing is I'm just tapping that product in before I cure my nail. Here's what I want to show you. I want to show you how you can, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, but see how I'm pushing the product down forward, and then I'm gonna use the product and basically push it back towards the cuticle. See how I'm like using the product to like go down. I'm gonna push it down, but then I'm gonna use it to wiggle it back into position near the cuticle line without touching the cuticle. This is a trick, and I wanted to zoom in to make sure that you guys could see that. You just want to make sure you're doing it that way. I find that when I do my nails, and even when I was doing nails professionally, that was my secret. Put the product down a little bit, just shy of the cuticle area, and use the back end of the brush to push the product in. Gravity will take over and that product will settle where it needs to be. So now that we've cured our nails for 60 seconds, I'm going to go back and repeat the same steps. Dust everything off, and then grab my gel product and I'm going to apply my next layer. I want to make sure that the pigment is very concentrated. I want to make sure that my nails are, sort of taking the shape that I'm looking for. And I noticed right there, and again, I wanted to do this on purpose, if you have any imperfections before you move on with your next layer, go ahead and grab your nail file using the 180 side and buff some of that out. And the reason you're going to smooth out that surface is because you don't want to create those ripples. Those ripples will be encased when you apply your clear, and you won't be able to sort of smooth that out. So it's nothing like having your nails perfectly shaped on the sides, perfectly filed in the front, or by the free edge, but underneath it looks like you have, like your nails will look like Google Map, like the hills and the valleys, and just like you couldn't file that out, buff that out. So that's what I'm saying, and that's what you're seeing me do. I'm just buffing and filing that down so that I can apply the next layer, so it's not basically creating this molehill or unnecessary lumps in my final product. Taking my time using a thin layer. If you need to rewind and go back, you look and take the brush and allow the product to fall into the natural groove, and then dip your nails into your dip powder. Let that powder sit on top, don't dust it off, and then repeat those steps on the other nails. What I'm doing right now is I'm just checking for integrity to see, do I need to add another color layer, or can I move on to the clear layer? I'm going to go ahead and move on to the clear layer, but I'm not going to add gel. I'm not going to add it with gel. I'm going to use my step number 2, the base coat. And the reason why I'm doing that is for a couple of reasons. Number one, I really want to be able to file my nail and shape it in such a way that I'm not compromising the gel. And I'm not using a hard gel. If I was using a hard gel, then I would opt for, I wouldn't use step number 2. I would just use, will buff and then put the hard gel on top and, proceed that way. But because I'm not doing it that way, I want to use the base coat to encase the pigment and the color. By doing this, this allows me and gives me a little bit more strength and integrity to my nail, but then it also allows me to shape my nail based on what I'm accustomed to doing. So I'm just going to apply step number 2, sweep those free edges, dip my nail into that clear powder, tap, and I'm done. But instead of allowing the nail to dry by itself, I am going to put my nail into the lamp for a few seconds just to cure it, just to make sure that anything that may be, maybe I missed, maybe pieces or parts of my hand were somewhat sticking out from the lamp. This allows me the ability to just make sure everything is set appropriately. And I'm going to do this to the rest of my nails. Now that I did that, I cured that for 30 seconds, I'm going to dust everything off. I'm going to apply my bond. I still want to apply the bond to the nails, and I'm going to do that to all 5 fingers, making sure that I really saturate that. Again, for some people may think this is overkill, but again, I think that it's necessary, especially if you want your nails that longevity. So this is what I am going to do. Now that I've allowed that to set and settle into my nails, I'm going to move forward with the shaping piece, I'm going to use my 180 side, and as you can see right now, I'm actually taking that nail file and I'm filing my skin. I'm filing, and it's not harmful, not hurting anything, but I'm just getting some of the overflow, the spillage that I have on my my thumb. I'm moving that out of the way and I'm pushing that forward. And not only am I taking that off and attempting to move it forward, but what it does is it breaks the bond and it allows me the capability of removing it without having to nip my skin or puncture my skin. So that's why I'm doing it. The 180 side is a softer grit. It's not as coarse as the 100 side. And sometimes I find that the 100 side can be just if you don't know, you don't know, but you can overfile using the 100 side. Whereas with the 180 side, it's harder to overfile. You have to work a lot. Like the amount of product you can remove with the 100, let's say if 5 strokes means that you removed 1 layer, on the 180 side, you would have to do that probably 10 to 13 times. You have to have 10 to 13 strokes to get the same amount of product off that you removed with the 100. So that's why I like the 180 side. What I'm doing is I am following the natural progression of my nails, and I am pushing my skin back, holding my skin down just so that I can properly shape it, and I am shaping the side walls, the free edge, and getting the desired shape. But by doing the pre-shaping, I don't have much to file. Now that we have filed and buffed everything, I'm going to do what I like to do, call like the Q&A. I'm doing quality control, quality assessment of my nails. I'm just looking at my nails and saying, okay, are there any lumps or any bumps, anything that I didn't catch during the filing, buffing phase? And if so, this is an opportunity for me to go in and repair that and fix that. Some of the stuff that I'm feeling, like if you have any additional product on your skin, you can remove that once you go and wash your nails. But again, I just want to check and see, you know, how do my nails feel? Are they bendy? Am I feeling something that may snag? If not, I'm going to head over to the washer, the sink to wash my hands, and I will be right back. Now that we have washed our hands, I'm going to take a lint-free wipe and some alcohol, and I am going to just wipe my nails down. I like to do this even on top of the dip app manicure. Why? Because I just washed my hands. I want to make sure that all of the product, the soap, there's no additional water that may be there. I want to make sure everything is gone because I am going to be using I believe I used the top coat. Yeah, I think I used the top coat. I don't think I used the gel to do the top coat. And why didn't I do that? Oh, I know that the gel that I was using was a soft gel, which meant that it was more flexible. And I didn't want that level of flexibility. I wanted something a little bit more stiff, so I opted to go with the top coat from the Liquid Set to add more integrity and structure to the nail versus putting on the soft gel. Right here, as you can see, I'm just using the back end of my cuticle pusher to just remove some of that product that's underneath, that's on my skin. I'm not hurting myself. I'm not doing anything like that. But I'm just removing this off of my skin so that I can proceed with the next steps. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward with the top coat. And again, I opted to use the top coat and not the gel because I wanted my nails to just to be a little bit harder. Plus, I like my top coat. I do. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. So I'm going to put 2 layers of the top coat on, applying thin layers, making sure that I hit that free edge. But again, I like this process. I will do another video where I will use the gel, and I have the hard gel upstairs, so I will use that as well in my next video just to show you a different option if you want to use like the builder gel underneath and then dip on top and then finish with the hard gel or even the soft gel. I can do that as well. So I hope this gives you a couple of different options. You know, you have so many variety of options and combinations that you can use. You can use gel all the way through. You can use gel with the liquids interchangeably. You can do a couple of things. You could use builder gel. You can use the harder gel. You can do a lot of things. But I think the possibilities are endless, and especially since the price of getting your nails now, everything is like going up, and it's going up. Like, these prices are crazy. You can opt to get a liquid dip kit for, I think I have some on sale for like maybe $80, and that literally can do your nails for the entire year. So $80 versus $80 every 2 weeks is a game changer. It's a steal. So hopefully you found some tips and tricks in this video. I hope that you like today's content. I am going to link all of the products that I use that are available on my site down below. And until we meet again, keep dipping. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I appreciate all the support.